Hi, everyone. I'm Dr. Nancia Leath, and I am your host for Raw Stories. I am so excited about Raw Stories tonight because this is going to be more like a conversation. As well, I may ask a few questions, but at the end of the day, it's going to be two wonderful ladies I'm going to bring in that you're going to meet, and we're going to have like a conversation. You could ask questions, but at the end of the day, our hearts is that you understand how to connect even the more, as well as have those tough conversations and why it's very important to do so. The two ladies I'm bringing to you is Alysia as well as Heather. Let's bring them on. Hi, Alysia. Hi, Heather. How are
Hi.
you?
Hey, doing good. How are you?
I'm well. How are you doing, Alysia? I didn't hear you.
Oh, I'm good. How are you?
All right.
My camera this time.
So tell me a little bit about yourself, please.
Who's going first?
Okay, so I guess I'll go first. So my name is Heather Brothers. I'm a wife. I've been married for almost 22 years now. I have 4 children. I have triplets. Yes, I said triplets. They are 17, and I have a now 13-year-old. She just turned 13 last week. Also an educator. I've been teaching in the Cobb County school system now for, this is my 6th year. And special education teacher. I work with the orthopedically impaired, and I love it.
What about you, Alysia?
Well, we did live in Atlanta for 14 years, but we also have 4 kids, and we just needed some grandparent assistance. So we moved back to Florida, where we were born and raised, about 5 or 6 years ago. And so I have a 7-year-old daughter, an almost 15-year-old son, a 9-year-old son, and an almost 7-year-old daughter.
Oh, and, wow.
Yeah. So Heather and I met in Atlanta, and so we've missed each other while I've been down here.
Oh, yeah. I love that. And it's good to know that you are friends. So how long have you all been friends?
For 13 and a half years now. Because I think your silence was about 6 months, I think, when we met. 13 and a half years. And we met.
Wow.
Yeah, we met at our daughters were taking a gymnastics class together. And we were sitting next to each other, and we just struck up a conversation and started talking, and then, started doing things with the kids and kind of hanging out together and got to know one another. And our kids got to be really good friends.
Yeah.
Wow. And with your conversation, and we all can see one person is white, Alysia. We also, Heather is a person of color. And even as this conversation is very needed right now during this time. And I just first want to thank you both for coming on and being transparent as well as telling your story. I know a lot of things are happening today, and I was going to start off talking about a story that took place with my daughter. We had a birthday party this week, and we was in the backyard, and music was loud. I was in the house going back and forth, and one of my neighbors decided to call the cops on us. And the kids, the cops came to just walk to our backyard. They were frightened. They were, traumatized by that situation. However, my oldest daughter, she handled it very well. She just let them know that we're going to end it soon, and we were cleaning up, However, we had a conversation, and then another thing happened was one of the neighbors that decided to call the police. She posted in I call our neighborhood group, and informed us that she called the cops because the noise was so loud to her. And so I responded and said, I apologize that we offended you. However, we were celebrating my daughter's birthday, and everyone at the party was African Americans. And the idea of seeing a cop, was very traumatizing. And something I heard from Clark Howard, I don't know, hopefully y'all that's listening, some of you have heard of Clark Howard. However, in the United States, a lot of us do. He is a financial advisor. However, his heart is for police, and my heart is for police too. And that's one thing I want to talk about, because you hear people say Black Lives Matter doesn't mean they don't respect police. However, Clark Howard, he talks about supporting officers, and which is great. And so he also decided to, be a part of a protest for Black Lives Matter. And they interviewed him and said, why are you at this protest when you publicly talk about the safety of police? He said, I still, support police. However, I've recognized when a white person see a police, they are excited, they are happy. That's the first person it calls. However, when African Americans see the police, they become frightened, their heartbeats start beating faster, hands sweating, He said, so I knew the system is broke, so I need to show that I also see that Black lives matter. However, we recognize in today that a lot of people understand Black Lives Matter. However, there's also a lot of people trying to, why you know Black Lives Matter, but we believe all lives matter, which is true. However, for today, we try to figure out how can we identify different things that are happening to African Americans and why it's happening. And it's been very grieving. A lot of people are grieving right now based on a lot of deaths because of a lot of African Americans. And most people don't even want to talk about it, or they don't know how to connect with their peers or their friends or even associates they may see at the gym or even at church, because they never really became friends like you and Alysia. And that's one of the main reasons why I wanted you all to come. And the first question for both of you is, when you saw the different things happening on TV, especially the young man that died with the police with his, he had his foot on his neck, as well as the young lady calling the police at the park while the man was bird watching, and the dog, and she played the card, a Black man is trying to harm me and my dog. Seeing those different videos or seeing those different situations, how did that make you feel, Alysia as a white person and Heather as a Black person?
So I don't know. Okay, so I'll go first. So it was traumatic, basically, to say the least. Like, I thought about, that could be my husband. It could be my dad. It could be my brother. And it was just disheartening, I think, too, to see the other police officers just standing there and not doing anything, even while they know that they're being recorded. So it was traumatic for me to see that and to know that could be someone I love. And when we think that the police are supposed to be there to help us, they're supposed to be there to, make sure they protect us. I think in the Black community, we're just not feeling that right now. And I think just, seeing it and putting it out there for the whole world to see, I think that it really was a wake up call for people when you actually saw it happen right before your eyes. Because I think maybe people might feel, oh yeah, it happens, but it doesn't happen, as much or as much as they say, or, that we're just making this up. It's not being made up. Like feel like we're traumatized. Sometimes when we see the police, we feel like they're not there to help us. So,
what about you, Alysia?
Our situation is a little bit unique in the fact that one of our children, my oldest son, is African American. So, although my experience watching it is not the same as an African American mom watching it, with just the generational impact of trauma, but still, like Heather, when I see things on TV, I picture my son's face, and my son he's very, very tall, and he's almost 6 feet tall, and he has some emotional, mental challenges, and so I know that his life is at risk every time he leaves the house, and because he does not have great impulse control. If someone is in the street and tells him to stop, he's just going to run home. You know what I mean? So when I see these things, it is traumatizing, because you realize, and Adrian and I just happened to go to, well, we didn't just happen, it was intentional, but we go to a predominantly Black church. So again, I picture all of my friends, our elders, my pastor, these are the faces I see when I see this happening on TV. It's real for me in the way that this happened to many of my friends.
Got it. And Alysia, I know you. I'm assuming you also have white friends too. Is that correct?
I do. I actually have more Black friends than white friends, but I think that's mostly because of our church situation. You know, you obviously make a lot of friends at church, and if you're at a predominantly Black church, you know, I do have some though. Yeah.
Okay. The white friends you do have, when they heard situations concerning Black people on TV, how do they respond to you? Do they check on you concerning your son? How was that response for you? Say that again. I'm sorry.
That's been really hard. I've only had one. It's been pretty hard. I've only had one white friend specifically reach out to ask how I'm doing. So it is. I think that for the average white person, this doesn't affect their life. So, you know, it's kind of, I maybe equate it to like when we were all hearing in America about Rwanda, right? It was like this thing over there that was happening to people, but it was not happening to us. So we were living about our normal life in America, you know. I think that that's kind of part of it is that this doesn't really impact my white friends. And so it's this thing happening that they know is there and they're upset, they think it's sad, but they don't really get the impact it has on every Black person in this country every day, you know, and how this makes them feel every day, and how every time you see news videos or hear one of these reports about this, that it is opening a wound over and over. And I don't think they understand how deep that wound is and how sensitive it is because it's just constantly reopened, you know?
Mm-hmm. Wow. And what about you, Heather? Did any of your white friends outside of Alysia contact you?
I was going to say, Alysia, she's the only one that reached out to me. And I mean, it was on a day that I was not okay. I mean, and I literally said that to her. She sent me a text and said, hey, you know, just checking on you, see how you're doing. And I text back and I was like, I'm not okay. It was really hard day for me. I mean, it was almost like, you know, how you go through grief.
Right. Mm-hmm.
It was really like I was going through grief. And that particular day, I mean, I was at the bottom. And when I text, she didn't text me back. She called me like immediately. Just so thankful for that because, you know, she was okay with having the difficult conversations. And that's something I really appreciate about her because it is hard, you know, when you're talking about race and when you're talking about, you know, the experiences of Black people, experiences that white people have, and they're so different. She's okay with having those tough conversations. And another thing that I really appreciate about her is that she's willing to listen and willing to learn, you know, and I appreciate that. She does, you know, she does her research and I love that about her. Like she checked on me to see how I was doing. And we talked, I think we talked for 2 hours that day.
Wow.
And, you know, before that we were texting and things, you know, but we talked literally for 2 hours that day. And it was so therapeutic. Like I needed that. I needed to just be able to release. I mean, we cried, we sobbed, I was weeping on the, and just to have someone, to have a white friend that was there for me and said, you know, I support you, I'm here for you, I love you. And that's all I needed, you know, the only one that did that. And for some time I was feeling, you know, some kind of way because I was like, nobody, it's like, do they not care? And it's like, we talk about silence, the silence, it's strong. Like people don't know what to say, or they're like, I don't want to offend, but it really just takes a text that says, hey friend, I love you, I support you, I'm here for you. That's it. Like it's that easy. But I think people are afraid because then it opens up all these wounds and then people get defensive and people get hurt, and people get angry, and it just makes it difficult. But I thank her and I'm appreciative of her for reaching out to me, especially that day. It was God sent that day that she texted me.
Wow. When we do, you know, think about something you said was some people don't even know what to say, but I guess my question is to you all, if you see like a family member or any person, you know, die because a person decided to put their knee on their neck, how will you respond? Is it because the person Black, they don't know what to say? or it's because the person is a human, they don't know what to say? How can you answer that?
I mean, I think the reason people are resistant and it's like they're almost scared to really receive the truth, because when you receive the truth about these things, what you have to receive is a question of our system. You can't address racism at all without addressing our system. Our system is really designed to benefit white people. And I think that it's really scary for white people to accept that. I think that the terms white privilege and white fragility and microaggression just make them go, I don't do this, I'm not racist, and what we need to start doing is letting ourselves really being brave and saying, maybe I can't trust this system completely, and we're really conditioned. All cops are good. They're all here to help us. We respect them, but the reality is not all cops are good, and we need to just admit that and change the system so the bad cops are gone, and I think a lot of people feel this fear of this conversation. Like if I admit that I have microaggressions because of my ignorance, it makes me racist. I'm not saying I'm racist. That's me admitting that I need to be educated and learn more.
That's good. I'm glad you said that, because they feel the idea of even asking is going to bring up the subject of racism. And right now, no one wants to be told you're racist or because they may not understand. And I think that's something that we need to talk about even in this conversation. When people may not understand or may not know how to relate, that doesn't mean they are racist. They just really, I guess my thing is they need to see people just as people. And then when you're able to see people as people, then it won't be so hard to, it won't be as difficult, meaning accepting that person for who they are. Because hopefully not every white person is the same way every black person is not the same. So the best thing is to identify people for people and not based on their skin color. So we still have to ask ourselves, do we have some biases, or are we racist if we feel like we don't know what to say or how to relate to that person because of their skin color? How do you feel about that statement? Do you feel like it's too extreme, or I would love to hear from you, Heather, concerning that.
As far as, I'm sorry, I didn't understand the question again.
Okay. The question is, when people say that they don't understand it or know how to relate to certain people because of their culture or their skin color, I guess I'm asking you is, when we all know everyone is different. No white person is the same, like no black person is the same. So the key is to see people for who they are as individually, not as a group. So what is causing people to see people as not from an individual state, but from a group state?
I think it's we're conditioned to see people as stereotypical. All black people can dance, all black people have rhythm or can play a sport, or even some of the negative stereotypes about, they're thieves or whatever. And then with white people we have stereotypes like that they can't dance, or so I think we're kind of conditioned just as a society, especially in America, that we have the stereotype of people. And we don't take, sometimes we don't take the time just to get to know people that don't look like us. I think it's so important, for us to have friends that don't look like us. It has to be intentional. And Alysia and I had this conversation earlier this week. If you don't have any friends that don't look like you, but you want your children to, not be racist, you saying you're not racist, you don't want your kids to be, then I think you as the parent has to be the example. You have to lead by example. So if I am, if I say I love everyone and I accept everyone as they are, but I don't have anyone in my circle that looks nothing like me, that doesn't look like me, that's a problem. I think we need to be an example for our kids. And so I think we have to be intentional about that if there's no one in our circle that looks like us. And when I say that, it basically just means like putting yourself out there. You know, if you have a coworker, or you have, you know, if you're in a mom's group, or your kids play sports and that kind of thing, sometimes the kids will get together and they'll play, or you'll have a play date or that kind of thing. But the moms don't really ever really like on a deeper level. So you really do have to be intentional. You have to make, you know, dates, like not dates, but
right.
Go out for coffee, you know, sit and get to know, you know, each other. And we will find out when we do that we have way more in common with each other than different. You know, so I think being intentional is important.
How you like to respond to that, Alysia?
Yeah, I think that, you know, I think looking at America in general, you can say, oh, look, we're it's so diverse. Everybody's everywhere together. But the reality is, in our intimate lives, we're still very segregated, you know. And so that, like Heather said, it's intentionality, but with a genuine heart, right? So it's not like, okay, I'll go out today and make a Black friend, you know?
Yeah.
Intentional saying, like, for me, for example, this is just something I do just because I feel like it makes a teeny tiny difference. But, you know, if I'm at the airport or the doctor's office and I can sit next to a white lady or a Black lady, you know, I'm like, I'm going to choose to go sit next to the Black lady because maybe we'll strike a conversation, you know, or maybe it'll make her feel good that I actually like sat over near her and I didn't gravitate towards the white person, you know. And one thing I definitely do, and this isn't necessarily to make friends, but just as a kind of a personal mini statement, if I'm anywhere like on a bus or airport, I will intentionally sit next to Black men so that they have the experience of a white woman not going to the other side of the street or sitting way far away. You know, because most of my friends that are men that are Black have had so many hurtful situations of white women avoiding walking near them or sitting near them. And so it's just been an effort of mine. Maybe one white lady they encounter that didn't do that, and maybe that'll make their day, you know, a little bit happier or whatever, you know. But it's just little things we can do to kind of say, this is not going to happen in this country naturally. You know, our country is designed, you know, and again, I go back to the system because I'm pretty much anti-system, but, you know, we were designed from the beginning, you know, and this is where education is so important. This is why reading books is so important, to learn that from the beginning, with the ideology of colonization, they had to put people against one another in order to gain power. And they very strategically did this, you know, because relationships between Black and white people way early on, you know, were not as strained. It was designed by the leading colonists to keep control, you know. So I think that we have to realize we live in a country that really has designed us to be separate, and so we have to rebel against it and say, no, you know, I'm going to live differently.
That's good. And that's good. The next question, which is great, because even with Women Who Thrive, we purposely trying to have people connect relationship wise. So we create a manual for people to use. They come together at least 12 times in this unit for them to build genuine relationships. Because I honestly believe if you build those genuine relationships, then you can have these tough conversations. That's why you, be honest with you, you and Alysia, Heather, both of you all were able to have those conversations because you already built that foundation. Right. Some of us try to have those racial conversations or those tough conversations before even knowing the person or having even relationships or even having friends.
Yeah.
And so instead of coming together, you have more I guess conflict, because you know the person doesn't want to come across as racist or judgmental. When you don't know that person's heart, you don't know what to think. So it's so very, very important before you have conversation or before you want to, start your conversations, want to learn from a Black person and try to figure out what's going on and, get to dig in and how they feel about the racism and all that kind of good stuff. First, just learn how to be a friend. You treat them the same way you would treat any other human being.
Yeah.
The thing is, accept them for who they are. You know, even though they may do different things, they may prefer hot sauce, and I don't even like hot sauce. But most people think everybody like hot sauce. But my husband likes a hot sauce, and I make him stop because it's too much high sodium. However, because that person may put hot sauce on their food, that doesn't mean all Black people put hot sauce. So you may hear that Beyonce song, you know, I got my hot sauce, you know, in her bag, but that doesn't mean every Black person, you know, with hot sauce. However, so the key thing is being able to get to know that person for who they are. Or for another example, every white person does not, like for Alysia said, attend a white church. She go to a predominantly Black church. I go to a church that's mixed because I want it both, because I don't feel like the world is, you know, I don't think heaven is going to be just all Black and all white. So we purposely found a multi church that have both, as well as, but also talk about these tough issues.
Yeah.
However, with relationships, the next question is, now we do understand that because you all are strong, y'all been friends for 13 years and y'all can have those tough conversations. How will you encourage a person to, I know you said you shouldn't just go, I'm going to meet a Black person today, or I'm going to go meet a white person today. What will you recommend? Because what if a person may not be around white people or may not be around Black people? What would you recommend for them to develop those genuine relationships?
Well, I think you would have to it would have to be someone that kind of has something in common with you. You know, like I don't like if you're at a Bible study, or you know, it might be a coworker who you know, is in the same field as you, or what have you. So I think when you come together as just in some common interest, I think that makes it easier than to like just go, like you said, you know, wouldn't just go to a stranger and say, hey, you want to be friends. So I think if you can find some commonality between the two of you, and then just, you know, strike up a genuine friendship. Like if you exchange, you know, phone numbers, or, you know, text with each other, maybe just encourage one another. And then, you know, just over time, because of course you can't, you know, you don't want to force it, because you want it to be definitely want it to be genuine. And like I think Alysia or someone said, you know, you want it to come from the heart. So I think finding that commonality, and then just, you know, being a friend, just like you would to anyone. I think those are two things that would be a good start.
Yeah.
What about you, Alysia? How you feel about that?
Yeah, I totally agree with that. And I think that one of the things I would like to add, though, is for any white people listening, I think a lot of white people have a tendency to think, okay, well, now I care, so I'm going to ask this Black person I know all the questions. Does this happen to you? Have you experienced this? And I think it is just so imperative for white people to understand it is not up to their Black friends and co-workers to explain 400 years of oppression. Okay, it's not, you know. And so for white people wanting to truly engage and become allies, please just read and research. In order to be an ally, you have to know what the battle is, right? You know, if you have two people at war, or if you have two sides at war, and someone says, "I'm going to be your ally," well, you got to know what you're fighting against, right? You know, you have to know how to be an ally. So, you know, there's incredible books out there. And really, honestly, just if most people who don't understand the roots of racism in this country just read about 3 to 5 books, they could really have good footing. You know what I mean? It's not hard to learn. And if people just stop maybe Facebook for a little bit and TV for a little bit and say, I'm going to pick up white fragility, I'm going to read that and learn what this is. You know, if they picked up the narrative of Frederick Douglass, you know, what actually happened to slaves, you know, let me actually understand. You know, another incredible one is How to Be Anti-Racist. Like we were talking about that one. You know, these are books people can read that can prepare them for these friendships. Because if you go into this friendship ignorant, you can't be ally. You know, and like for Heather and I, what happened over time was I read and researched to educate myself. She knew I was in that effort. So if I did have a question for her, she knew it was coming from, I figured this out, but I want to understand on a more personal level for how that affects her, you know. And so then our conversations are more natural, and you know, she knows where my heart is coming from and asking. I think that would help a lot.
That's good. Thank you so much. I would also like to give you more, or add more suggestions to what they indicated, which is very good. Because to be honest with you, what I did was I recognized that all my friends was predominantly Black, or I recognized that all my friends was at just one particular place at a church. And I said, wow. And I did not allow any outside people to come in I call my little circle. And then when I realized this, I said, wow, this has to change. So I purposely told people what was happening. I let them know. I went to a white person as a friend today, and let her know that, you know what, I see that I only have Black people. And I want to get to know white people even the more. Will you be willing to even, do that? Because I see you hang with only white folks too. She bust out laughing. It was so funny. And she said, that is true. And I said, and then we found out we did have a lot in common. So if you are brave, if you have and you feel like, especially you purposely want to build your network and have more than just one culture, it's okay to just let that person know. Exactly. Be very transparent, be honest. And so honestly, reach out to different people. Like I have people around the world that I'm friends with because I honestly reach out to them and talk to them and just to get to know them and who they are as people, not to compare, not to compete or judge, but really want to know who they are. And when people feel your love and your compassion, they're like, wow. Some people say, I don't see color. And I can understand when they say that. However, we want you to see the color because we want you to accept who we are and appreciate the difference. But what they're really saying is, I only see your heart. I'm able to see your soul. And so when you're able to get to that place, then you'll be open to sit by that Black male or be open to talk to that a person from Egypt, or being able to talk to someone in Mexico and have those genuine relationships. And as we change the subject a little bit about the friendship component or how to build associates, if people that are friends today, that you may have white friends, you may have Black friends, and now they may have a little tension right now, or because that Black person is upset because their white friend didn't check on them. What will you say to those wonderful people today, Heather?
So I was one of those people because I have more than just one white friend. I was hurt that no one, reached out to me. Even after the headmaster of my girls' school kind of made a charge to the parents of the school, like, check on your friends of color. And when I didn't get not one, and still to this day have not received one call from anyone, I was like very hard. I was hurt and disappointed too. I think too. I really felt like, gosh, these people, I've been to their house, we've had dinners together, we've gone on retreats together, our kids spent the night with each other and gone on, gone to dances and, all these things that we've done as families. So I was a little bit hurt and disappointed, but, over time, I've come to realize that it may not be because they're not against me. Kind of what I was feeling. I was like, well, gosh, if they're not saying anything, then that just makes me think that they're not for me. They're not on my side. But, I've just, after, a few weeks of simmering down, I realized that, it may not be that. It may just be they don't know what to say. Mm-hmm. And, and that's hard. It's hard to take, but, I just have to move on, and, I'm still going to love them. I'm not going to look at them side eye when I see them or anything like that. I'm going to still love them. And, but I know that for some of them, it's just difficult to have that conversation. And for most of them, they've probably never had a conversation about race with someone, besides maybe their family member or friends that look just like them. Mm-hmm. So it's a conversation to have, but I mean, it's one that we should be having. And especially now, I think this is a perfect time to have that conversation, because it doesn't seem really awkward, because it's like, okay, this is going on in our world, not just this country. So I think we should be having those conversations.
Do you feel like your relationship with them is solid enough to have those conversations?
I think so. I mean, I think it would be. They may feel differently, but for me, I would have loved for any of my, white friends besides Alysia to reach out to me and say, "Hey, can we have a conversation?" I would have loved that. I mean, I would have welcomed that.
But do you feel like sometimes people put their friends in categories, meaning, oh, these are my basketball girlfriends,
True.
are
True.
my, my little church friends. I may see them, but in my core of my friends who are really friends or who I really care for and check on may not picture or see you or a category of people.
Right.
And so they may not feel the need to. And so today we're encouraging you to, the same way you see your core, being able to have compassion for all your groups of friends.
Right. Yeah, I didn't think about it that way, but yeah, you're right. You're right.
And with that being said, Alysia, and I know you already told us how it made you feel, because you started off letting us know how it made you feel because you heard from one person, and you indicated that by only hearing from one person, and do you feel that you have a solid relationship with them? Do you feel that your foundation is strong with the people?
I feel like my relationship with them is very, very strong, but there's only a certain level we can go to because of the fact that these kinds of issues are central to our family because we have a Black son, and it's something we're just very passionate about. So I talk about it a lot, and I think that when the response from people is just, "Oh, I didn't know," and "Oh, that's sad," and you can't quite go deeper in how you're feeling. So that does create a little bit of a separation, just because you're like, well, I can't really talk to them about these things, and so because they really don't understand it. I don't hold it against them at all. I think it's lack of education and it's fear, and I think that I hear a lot of people say like, well, I don't even think Black people want to hear what we have to say, and
wow.
I feel like I'm always saying one thing, and I jokingly I'd be like, that's because you need to stop talking, and you just need so. It's time for us to pass the mic. We've had plenty
right. Listen,
and let our brothers and sisters of color start to have the mic. Let them speak. And I think that when we were talking before about like to all of us, right? The past 2 weeks, this is all we've been thinking about talking. And so I think that I just have to tell myself, what? It's not that these friends don't care; it's that they completely don't understand this. And that's one of the things I think we need to share with people is like how really important this moment is, And I think that yes, the whole body's important, right? My whole body's important, but if I have cancer in my lung, I'm going to go to the doctor and address cancer in my lung, not my eczema on my elbow, right? Because this is like has to be addressed, and I think that's kind of where my heart is, and my friends that don't get like, why is this such a big deal? Because this is a cancer, it's killing a part of our body, and it has to be addressed before we worry about these other smaller things.
That is so good. And even with when you do have friends that are the one that did respond to you, do you feel that's going to deepen your relationship?
I think so. I think that I will always remember that person did that, And like I said, I'm not upset with any of my white friends, but just, and it really means something, and I tried my best. I tried to think of every Black person I know, and I was like, did I text someone? Did I check on someone? Did I check on someone? I wanted to make sure they all knew, and if I forgot, if anybody's listening that I forgot, it was, my head, not my heart, that's what our pastor says. But, I tried really hard because that was important to me. I needed for all of my friends to know. And, I think just sorry, I want to say one more thing about that. It's okay if you don't know what to say.
Right.
Actually call or text and say, hey, I don't know what to say.
Yeah.
I love you. I know this must be hard. You know, you don't have to say anything. I think what people just want is for, you know, especially the white community to say, just say we care. Say this is important to us. You know, say this is a priority. So not knowing what to say is okay. You know.
Right. That's good. And it's funny you said that because even I know Heather and I, we are part of a Women Who Thrive small group. And we had a particular person, and you know, she was saying that she was just focusing on her own family. But when she heard us, we explained to her how silence is painful.
Yep.
And you know, and she quickly responded, like, you all, thank you. And she talked about how she had to learn how to hear and listen in a way to be listening from an open ear, not listening, just keep saying, I don't understand, but really hearing the person pain. And she was able to feel our pain through a text.
Right.
And she quickly said, I will not be silent. I want you all to know that I stand with you all and I do not want harm, you know, based on her response. And even though she is still, you know, she's still learning, because some stuff she say kind of, you know, clueless, but it's okay because we get it, you know. But the idea that she's willing to hear and understand, like, wow, I can't be silent because you're my friend. And being able to relate to that. And so even if you do have friends out there that may have not responded to you, I encourage you to respond to them. Let them know, you know what? I was feeling a little down during this week because of this. And then so give that person the opportunity to say, you know what, I'm sorry about that. And so in the future, they, you know, they will know. And then you can say, you know what, I honestly appreciate that. And so you're not accusing them of anything, but you showing them what you need from them for a friend. So for an example, with a lot of my friends, I ask them, say, what can I do to be a better friend to you? What can I do? Because I know I'm very direct, and I say, do I need to use more tact? I do, because I know, and so certain people, I know I can be straight, and then certain people, I have to be very tactful, because at the end of the day, I don't want to harm anyone. And so, and I love what Alysia as well as what Heather said, that right now, a lot of people just honestly don't know what to say. So most people may be quiet or be hesitant. And they may see you like, hey, how are you doing? And hug you and like run away, like, you know, real, because they don't want to feel, you know. But I encourage you to initiate those conversations.
Yes.
You know what? I want you to know those 2 weeks was really tough for me. And so you can, and then you can explain to them why it was tough for you. And then, you know, and then that person's like, wow, I didn't know that. Yeah, you know, be honest with you, it hurt a little bit when, you know, I saw you talking about dogs and puppies, you know, on your social media, or when I said something, you know, and on my post, you didn't even look at it. You know, it's like, oh, well, I don't want to deal with that, so let me look at another post. And so when you do that, that is, it caused me to feel painful. It caused me to feel like I don't matter to you, or I'm asking myself questions: is she racist and don't want to let me know, or she ashamed to respond because, you know, other people will see it? Let me know so I can know where we are concerning our friendship.
Yeah, and I think too, it's not too late. Like when you say, and actually, I think now and even going forward, you can still reach out. You know, is out there that you know, has, you know, African American friends and hasn't reached out at this point. It's not too late, and actually, it maybe even better to reach out now when things aren't so raw. You know,
right.
I think the last 2 weeks things were just so painful and so raw that if you reach out in a week or 2 weeks or just whenever you feel ready, believe me, any person of color will appreciate it.
Yes. And also, if you have family members that are police and you know one of their, you know, you see different police dying right now, different things happen, you reach out to them too. It's not just a Black thing, or it's just anyone, any human.
Yes.
Any human that's going through any form of trauma, and you know that family have police in their family, you say, you know what? Please know that I want the best for you. I'm praying for your family, and I'm praying that your husband or your wife make it home. Because at the end of the day, everybody just want to make it home safe. That's the real core of what's happening. So if you do have people that you know that a police officer, or even in the military right now, because a lot of them being used to go out, you know, Trump sending, President Trump is sending people out, you know, to help, you know, bring order. So, you know, pray for them that they're protected.
Yes.
Because a lot of people don't want to be there. They're just doing what they're called to do. So don't assume everyone is evil or against Black people. That's not the case.
Right.
Do you like to add anything concerning that?
I actually have to admit, you know, I don't know any policemen, but even if I never would have thought of that. So I'm really glad you mentioned that, because that's going to make me conscious now of none of mine. And that's why these conversations are good, because we learn, oh, you know, I didn't think about that, you know. And so, you know, we only know what we know. And Heather always says, once you know, you
right. That's good.
So I think that we need to give each other, too, I think, a lot of grace right now, because I think everybody's just afraid of hurting each other. So, you know, and I think everyone's trying to figure this out, but it's such a really beautiful opportunity if we do it right. You know, if we listen. I mean, I'm going to say especially right now, this is really a time for Caucasians to just listen and learn, you know, but if we do that, and, you know, I mean, Heather's been so patient with me over the years, you know, I've been learning for years about my own microaggressions, about my own white privilege. So I'm positive when we were first friends, I probably said things I had no idea that they were hurtful, you know. But over time, according as far as I'm concerned, I was brainwashed by the system for, you know, at least 30 years. So until I read and researched for another 30 years, I'm still at a deficit, you know. So this is a lifelong journey to keep learning, keep shedding, and then also to learn, unfortunately, there is white privilege. How can I use that for good? You know, how can I use that as a weapon to offer to my brothers and sisters of color to say, what can I do with this? How can I leverage this? You know, and instead of denying it and saying, I don't have white privilege, you know, just saying, like, I do, and I'm going to use it for good and not evil, you know. And, I mean, you know, it's unfortunate that it's that way, but that's the system we have, so we have to start there, you know.
That is so good. And so even as we bring this conversation to closure, we want to know if you have any questions for Alysia or Heather, please go ahead and post them so they can respond to you, because we want to make sure we give you time to ask questions too, because I just love the idea of having two people that have a relationship. They first have a strong foundation, and that's very important. Please don't go running around asking different questions about racism and all that stuff when you don't even know the person. Build a relationship first, you know, and then it's just like any form of relationship. You just, when you go on a date with a guy, you don't just start asking him questions or you about, you know, different topics that you know that will bring pain. You first get to know that person. You will know how to ask those tough questions. You will know already based on his personality, you know, what he would like and how he would need, how you need to say it. It's similar with even with friendships, or even if you're at a company, you know, you don't just go ask tough questions, you know, at a company. You learn the system first, and then after you learn the system, then you go in and start asking those questions. And I know you have passion, and I know you want to learn, but please know you're gonna have to build relationships. So if I don't say that 100 times, it's very important that you know you have to build relationship, and that's very important for us and Women Who Thrive. Our big 3 C's is collaboration, community, and connection. And so all 3 of those, you have to have a genuine relationship. So I'm trying to see if we have any more questions. Yes, I believe now. I think we said that already. I guess as we bring closer, what would you like to say, Alysia, to the white community concerning this overall situation?
I could take a whole hour on that, but I think my main thing I want to say right now is, please, you know, consider that the things people are talking about are true, even if it's super uncomfortable for you, even if it kind of rocks your world a little bit. Just consider it. Start reading, start researching. You know, all you have to do is something simple. Google best books to understand racism. You know, I mean, it's not hard, but please educate yourselves, because so much information is kept from us. And, you know, it is time for us to step up and learn the truth and then become allies, you know. And even for me, who I have Black friends I've been friends with for years, I still was cautious in my text to say, because I'm passionate about this. So, you know, instead of just, you know, getting all up in my feelings, just being like, okay, you know, what can I do right now? You know, I just wanted to listen and ask, because, you know, we need to hear right now. We need to educate ourselves. So I would say that's the first step. And then just, you know, please make conscious effort to notice the people around you and to get out of, you know, most of us are in our bubbles, right? You know, and you have to pop your bubble to get out of it, you know, so just make that effort. And, you know, if you, right now too, I think small things, if you're walking past, you know, African American on the street, smile, say hi, you know, let them know that you're there, you know, and that you see them and you care about them.
Well, thank you. And what about you, Heather? What would you like to say to our beautiful African American community, or anybody person of color?
So, I mean, I think give yourself time. You know, we really have to heal. I mean, the thing that the overarching theme that I've been hearing this in the last years is like we're tired. You know, we're tired. Like we just keep seeing this over and over and over and over again. It's like no one is hearing us. No one's hearing our voices. Sees our pain, and you just have to kind of give yourself time to grieve. You know, give yourself, and I think self-care is important, because like I said, these last few weeks, I mean, it really hit home for me. And I mean, I had some tough times, and I had some conversations with several people where I said, I just weeped. And I think, you know, making sure you're taking care of yourself, making sure that you're, you know, exercising if you can, try to get rest, you know, just doing the things that, you know, kind of bring you some joy, because, and then too, not watching too much news and not being too much on the media, because that was one of the things that was happening to me. Like I was consumed with Facebook and social media and Twitter and, you know, the news, and it was getting to me. Like, I mean, my soul was grieving. And I realized that I couldn't keep doing that to myself. And I had to just take a step back. I mean, I literally just went on a fast from from social media. I haven't really been watching a lot of the news. You know, my husband will tell me stuff here and there, and I just had to give myself a break, because I mean, it was really hard. So I think that is very important, you know, and for the Black community. And also, you know, if you need, you know, someone to talk to, you know, reach out to friends, you know, don't try to do it alone. Yeah, talk to your friends, get your family involved, and just give yourself time to just, you know, really just kind of grieve. I mean, that's basically what we have to do right now.
That's awesome. And I would also like to add too, because, you know, I'm a mental health therapist. I got to throw that in there. If you are dealing with anger, even anxiety, because during this time, even your depression level goes up, please know that it's normal right now. And we encourage you, if you have a therapist, talk to your therapist. Or if you don't have one, think about getting one, so you can express those feelings and process what you're feeling, in order to show you different coping skills in order to release those feelings. It's not just the Black community, as well as the white community. You know, the stress that you may be having and don't understand why you feeling certain feelings, or why it's difficult for you to even connect with another a person outside of your bubble. Talk to someone and find out the why, so you can process that. And you may see different things that, you know, you've been programmed, that you may have to identify, and it may be frustrating, because you may go through the grief stages, you may go through the guilt, and you may go through the anger, you may go, and then you go, you know, different stages. But just know what you're feeling is normal, and talk with different people. And also, like we indicated before, is try to find people outside of your circle to first get to know, not use them as a guinea pig to learn. Please, just become friends. Get to know who they are from their heart. not because of their skin, but get to know who they are, or not just to say, "Oh, I got a Black friend." No, really know. And because when you a friend, you check on your friend when you know certain things may bother. If you don't know certain things are bothering them, you may need to really look at, make sure you are friends. You may be just associates, and get to that place that you will check out. Because I know if something was happening to your sister or a close friend, or even just a friend in general, I don't care if you're just a friend. I haven't saw you in years, and I see something happen, I'm going to check on you. Maybe we have different levels of how we treat our friends, but we are encouraging you today. We need to show compassion. Today, we need to let people know that we care. And today, we need to not just talk about it, we also need to take steps and be there for different people. And I'm so thankful for Alysia as well as Heather allowing us to experience their relationship and what they talked about and discuss how they help each other and what they're doing today. And so I guess the last question will be, even after you leave this conversation, what steps are you planning to do in order to strengthen your relationships outside of what's going on now, as well as developing more relationships? What are you planning to do?
Well, I was invited from a lady at church to join. We have about 12 people, and we started a discussion group on Zoom. And what we're trying to do is try to figure out what we can do as our group, and then potentially maybe join another group that is, we're trying to work through what's kind of our vision and particular passion in this, and then maybe join up with another group and try to get that momentum and that vision going for change. And one of the things I've done, and this is something people can do that's simple we forget about, but one of the friends at church and I just committed to praying every week together. We just we get on the phone and pray for like 10 minutes for all of this to end, for things to heal and for equality and justice to prevail in our land, and then Heather and I have been talking about our we do, so.
Yes. Well, I'm a part of Women Who Thrive, and we, like Nancy was saying, we have a group that we get together, and unfortunately, because of the whole coronavirus thing, we haven't been able to get together in our small group and, just have discussions, just having real deep, hard discussions about these type of topics. So, of course, I'm going to continue with that. I'm really looking forward to doing more with that. So, Nancia, thank you, for inviting me to be a part of that group. I really appreciate that. I definitely want to do more when it comes to that. I think also just, being, like I said, intentional about making sure you're checking on your friends. I think that I sent text messages to, some of my friends to say, hey, I'm just checking on you. How you doing? How's it going? How do you feel? Especially after that day that, a week ago when Alysia texted me and to check on me and how important that was for me. I was like, I don't know if my friends might be going through the same thing. So I wanted to make sure that someone was checking on them. So, I think just continuing to do that, continue to check in on your friends, make sure that, they're doing okay, your family. With me, I'm going to keep doing the Women Who Thrive and try to get more involved, actually. And then I think too, Nancy, I don't know if you wanted to mention about.
Yes. Yeah, we do want to. These two wonderful ladies have decided to start a book club. It's going to be a virtue book club, and they're going to talk about different books. It's already on the website at www.thrive.com, www.thrive.com. And go click on resources, and you will see joining the book club. So they're preparing, so you will hear from them in about a couple of weeks, so you can go ahead and sign up, and they will be happy to add you to their list, and they will give you more instructions. They still planning that. We also see another comment, which is a very great comment because I love this organization. It is called look at bethebridge.com. Also for guidance, if you want to look at a larger organization for your church, to be honest with you, they work with churches about being the bridge and the gap. I was part of a group before and which was awesome. I enjoy it. And another thing too, the lady that's oversee it, she's a very close friend to me. She's a childhood friend. Her name is Latasha Morrison, and she honestly have a passion. She has a passion for people coming together, especially the church community. Because I love her story, how she talked about because we grew up together, and we grew up with Black and white people. And to be honest with you, I didn't experience any racism growing up. Friends, we have white and Black friends. And however, something she talks about, she saw segregation when she went to church, Black, and she talked, and so her story is so amazing, and how God is using her, and it's really, her heart is really to connect people together. And I think I was telling you all earlier that I went to Rwanda this summer, and I went with Be the Bridge, and just we went there, and I tell you, to this day, my life has changed, because you're able to see forgiveness in a way that I have never seen forgiveness before. Those two tribes, and learning from them, which, to be honest with you, I honestly believe is another reason why the Lord birthed even the Women Who Thrive. Because I told you before, the governor spoke about how when you train a woman, you train a whole nation. I'm like, wow, that just stayed with me. And so I'm just so excited about the going back to and Brooke was saying she cannot wait, because she's excited about books and she loves to read. So I know she'll be a part of that club, that book club. And if you have any questions, especially right now with Women Who Thrive, our main core is building genuine, authentic relationships, because we understand that's one of the main core components in order for you to thrive. And you can have these type of conversations because you already know the person's heart. Someone say something crazy like, oh, they don't, they just need to learn, and then get to know them. We could talk about that, and then slowly like, oh, now I get it. They may not get it initially, but over time they will get it. Will you like anything you like to say before we bring closure?
Well, I just want to say thank you, Nancy, for inviting me. Thank you, Alysia, for agreeing to do it. I was super nervous because at first Nancy was like, "Would you do it?" I was like, "Oh," but I'm just thankful, to be able to come on and just talk about our friendship, and hopefully we can be an inspiration, for other people to put themselves out there and to make friends with people that don't look like you. I think it's so important to have just that different experiences, life experiences, different cultures, different opinions. It's important. And so thank you, just for having me tonight.
Oh, it's an honor. Thank you for coming.
Yeah,
what about you, Alysia?
And I mean, it's just, I really had a blast today talking. We talked earlier to get ready for tonight, and we all talked for 2 hours. It was amazing. I just want to thank you. I've had so much fun, and it's just so amazing to find those soul connections with people, because they don't come all the time, so when they do, it's really exciting. And I just agree with Heather, and I would just emphasize to people that we can do this. This is possible for us to do, and I think that it's new and different for people, and it can be uncomfortable, and feelings can get hurt, but we are able to do this. I mean, humans are designed to love one another. So we're actually meant to love each other.
Yeah.
So I think that if we all can be listening, asking the right questions, educating ourselves, and having grace for one another, we can make this happen. This it's going to happen. To just piggybacking off of, don't go into it saying, "Oh, I need to be colorblind and see." No, go into it color aware.
Yes, see it. Look at my color, honey.
I want to learn about different cultures' food, the color of their skin, the clothes they wear, the traditions, because that's what's so enjoyable about life, is that we can have all these different experiences. So, look at it as in, I'm not going to be colorblind. I'm going to be color appreciative,
Yes.
Oh, I love that.
Yes. Wow. I think someone wanted to say something. Thank you, ladies. Oh, wow. Thank you. And I think that's very important. It is great communication. That is why we cannot be silent. And that's one of our logos for Women Who Thrive. We do not hold our words. We say what we need to say, because at the end of the day, we know with God's backing, we will be okay. And I just want to thank these ladies again. Thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you. And I also want to thank you all for watching Raw Stories. It has been a pleasure, and we're excited about next week. Talk is going to be something that you all can be involved in, as well as we want to hear from you and conversate, because at the end of the day, Raw Stories is about you. Raw Stories is about coming together and learning from each other as we share our life experiences. Thank you for watching Raw Stories. I'm Dr. Nancia Leath, your host.